Big Ron Shaw here, the Earl of Upsets, telling you to watch my friends Monte and the Pharaoh on Long Island's #1 wrestling podcast show, and soon to be the world's #1 wrestling podcast show. That is going to be a big upset.
The Monte and the Pharaoh show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
The NWA heavyweight champion, and at the time you had to be able to go 60 as a babyface or a heel as a champion. And this guy had been around, and he was polite with everybody, but I wasn't intimidated. I didn't think I was good enough to even talk to him. But when that'd be like you're breaking in baseball and you're playing baseball with Babe Ruth, and you don't want to talk to Babe Ruth because you don't feel you're worthy of him. And that's the way I felt, was because I knew I was the shits, and I never thought I would stay in the business as long as I did here, of just talking shit and doing whatever.
Drew Wilson knows how to keep us on live here. Hey, Rip, how you liking this 80-degree weather? It's $10 super chat.
This is the greatest weather we've had here today.
Opinions on Monte and the Pharaoh.
Oh yeah, I watch them on the internet a lot of times. They're really good. I like them. They have some great guests on there. I like their opinions. As a matter of fact, they're over with me. I watch them as much as I can, just as much as I watch Jimmy Cornette stuff, and that's probably the main two that I like. But then again, I like James. I like to watch James's stuff, and then God, I see the guy. I've been on his show, but I can't. The dark-haired guy, this and that. But anyway,
I've never heard of Monte and the Pharaoh.
Yeah, they're good. You can Google.
They
them.
wrestling?
Yeah, it's all about wrestling stuff.
Oh.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monte and the Pharaoh, only seen here out of the Monte Man Cave and Wahoo Saloon. Jimmy, first of all, I got to apologize to a person out there. Ask a Bum. He did a super chat, and I friggin' missed it. I missed it.
Okay.
He had a super chat on the Val Venus interview,
Oh,
and I missed it. So, again, I have to apologize. I told him next interview I'll make sure we get a couple of his questions in for free, right? So, that's all I can do, right? I fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Hey, man, not the best producer in the world. What am I going to tell you?
Hey, you're doing the right thing, though. I mean, you're doing the right thing.
No, I mean, that's all I can do is apologize. I mean, I responded back and I said, unacceptable. It's unacceptable on my part.
No, I got you. And you throw it in a couple of free questions, and hopefully all is cool with the world.
That is it. Do the best we can, right?
Yeah.
I'm
grateful you pushed the buttons. What, are you going to ask me to do it? I'm trying to roll a joint without ripping the paper.
You are watching Long Island's #1
That's
pro
not
wrestling
me.
broadcast. He
That is-
hates that picture.
No, that is not me. Look at the jawbone. That is ridiculous, Michael. You look all thin, and I'm like, man, I'm chewing on tobacco. Man, what is that? What
Dude,
the
I'm
fuck?
not like
Fuck
making AI
Fuck
to do
AI.
anything.
What was that?
I'm not making AI make it. They just make it. You know what I mean?
Make one of me on the beach with my tattoo.
Dude, some
With my
real
book. You bonehead.
dude.
Corn
Are
dogs.
you gonna buy my?
Corn
Are you-
dogs.
Are you gonna buy my book?
Dude, if it's about corn dogs, fuck yeah.
Thank you. Corn
Fucking
dogs are
A,
life.
they are life. They're delicious.
Listen,
and corn,
you got
and
all
corn
these other
fritters.
assholes writing books, and I'm not
Why not?
talking about Val Venus, right? I'm just talking
Right.
about in
Hey, you know
general, right?
what? You know what you should do? You should give it to John Cena so he can find an appropriate place for it. What do you think?
Corn dogs are life. All right, so Jimmy, let's get
All right.
serious here. That Val Venus
Yeah.
thing was off the hook, by the way. And again, kudos. I'm sorry. This is my favorite pro wrestling show, Monte and the Pharaoh, because
Yeah.
only Monte and the Pharaoh talk about this type of stuff, right? So
Yeah, like
it's nothing but
a futuristic utopian society of some weird sorts that Val sees, and it's in premise. A lot of it is cool, but like as we were discussing afterwards before we came on for this show, human race, man, it's not going to happen.
well, I
And
thought you brought up great points, by the way. Like people
yeah,
are going to police themselves. Like
right, right. Right. Well,
right.
here's the whole thing. Like, I love the way you introduced me to this. Well, I always was aware of the word, but since we've been doing the show, microcosm is a key thing in this, because if you really were listening to what Val said, part of his idea was is to let communities now in premises, it sounds nice and all, but to let communities basically elect their own officials and police themselves. This sounds like The Walking Dead to me, because it's a microcosm of jail. Jail is a microcosm of what happens really in real life when you are returned to your racial divides that nobody can deny. Okay, in jail, the whites hang with the whites, the blacks hang with the blacks, the Spanish hang with the Spanish, et cetera, et cetera. It's the basic conditions. So if like we go to like where towns are now policing themselves, oh, trust me, you'll come to a town where guess what? Certain kinds can't be there. You telling me that ain't going to happen? Of course that's going to happen. Human condition. It's always been the same, Mike. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The
I
pig, as the good book says, always returns to its vomit.
no, that's see that you're such valued points. So
Spelled out.
I was watching Val, and his premises and his ideas are very
A
intelligent
lot of them are great.
and very logical. But it's
Yeah.
looking through a guy with a very high moral standard and in a belief in people. And
Right.
to my point of like, how long does it take like some gang or the mafia to come in and say, "Oh, you need a security? We'll be your
Yeah.
security, and
Yeah.
now you're going to pay me."
If
And
people are
whether you have a gun or not isn't
yeah.
going to matter, right? It's not like I have a gun, I'll shoot you.
If
Doesn't matter.
people are policing themselves, it does become The Walking Dead minus the zombies. You're gonna
Yes.
everyone's gonna have a gun, and nobody's gonna accept. Look, our basic premise is to survive. We're not sharing. Human race
Right.
doesn't truly share. Sure, we put up illusions of sharing, and yes, some things are physically done to help people, but as a whole, the percentage, we're not sharing.
And,
Get
and
out
and
of
think about it this way
just
too. In general, right? People are
yeah.
capitalists at some point.
Of
So
course.
it's like even the people with the best moral value,
Yeah.
most of them when they make all this money, all of a sudden
Right.
become
Right.
the devil takes over, right? The power takes over.
And what is mankind illustrated over and over again? And it's not always been through the evil, corrupt United States, not at all. If you look at the history of civilization, it's occurred on every continent. Close your eyes, point at the globe, and you'll find a dictator, a murderous dictator, regimes, empires. Whether it's the Romans, whether it's the Greeks, whether it's the Ottoman Empire, whether it's I think Genghis Khan has the all-time body kill. Where's he from? Mongolia? I don't, dude. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We know what China, oh my God, historically, like the bodies. Come on, stop it. It's the human condition, Mike. It's not going to change. And
Sex,
that's,
drugs, and money, man. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. And updated later on by the late, great Warren Zevon, because now it's lawyers, guns, and money. You
Yeah.
know?
Well done.
Gee, good Lord. And Welcome to the Machine. What do you think? Pink Floyd was fucking around when they wrote that song? What do you think the machine is anyway? It's what Val was talking about getting past. You ain't going to get past it. It's not negative thinking. It's realistic thinking.
I will say this: as
You
much
know?
as we all love wrestling in this community,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
not going to become better as a society if we're going to sit here and just keep talking about wrestling all the time, right?
Right.
You do have
Right.
to talk about real moral
Well,
issues.
they're people. Our guests are people, right? I mean, they're people. And if they have a take other than an armbar back in some heyday, I'd rather hear that. I agree. At first, I was like, "Are we going to ask the pro wrestling insider questions?" When we first started this show, but no, it's much. I much prefer getting to talk to them as people. Hell, we barely see these people when we get to talk to them. We might as well talk to them real. Otherwise, we're just what are we doing? We're marking out. No, we want
Well,
to know the real person.
but again, if you think about it, Jimmy, the premise of all these shoot interviews, it's not
Yeah.
about, hey, I went to Madison Square Garden and I had a salad with Don
Right,
Morocco and we went and worked out with weights. It's about
right,
all the garbage, all the mean stuff, all the right.
right,
Every show is
right,
based on it. Vince McMahon doing this, and even if it's just about wrestling, it's about
right,
all the evil shit behind wrestling. I mean,
right,
so the reality of it is there's value in what we're doing here, right? There's
right,
actual formulative thought process and thinking out of the box. So whether you believe Sean Morley, aka Val Venus, or not, or you don't believe in his transgender thought process, at least it's food for fodder. It's something
right,
to think about. It's something
right.
to improve yourself beyond, if, which by the way is the title of our show, you've got worked. Ron Killings getting back because supposedly fans got him back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, are we going to jump to that? Because that's basically being violent
Do you
played at
want
this
do you
point.
want to just jump to that and then we'll get to a little last show? What do you think, or you want to hold off a little bit?
Whatever, you drive the bus. I'm just, at the back of it telling, ignoring the no smoking sign. So,
All right, so
uh,
what's your way in, man? Ron Killings gets let go. We
right.
already found out he was making $553,000 a year. You later find out that this guy is very adored. He's very loved, right? Our
Okay.
take on it, I think, was pretty much
Uh,
pretty basic. Ron Killings didn't worked never, and no one missed him. And all of a sudden, the internet, the IWC, the internet wrestling community, for people that don't know what IWC means,
mhm, mhm.
supposedly I was taking credit that the WWE folded under the pressure. Before I let you just take the stream on this
Yeah.
and share your Pharaoh thoughts, I will say this: I'm seeing holes in Triple H. If this wasn't a work, this guy is becoming Tony Kanish. He's bringing in wrestlers that Vince McMahon would never have brought in. He's bending over to now. Again, if Vince was in charge, I don't think Ron Killings ever would have been let go anyway, because from what I understand, he loved him. But that's
Mhm.
beyond the point. Seems to me that Triple H is looking for the hug, and it's concerning to me being a WWE fan. But I digress. It's all you, Jimmy. What do you got?
What do we got? Well, I think, as you previously described, as far as truth goes, look, let's just say it like it really is. Ron Truth, our our truth, Ron Killings has been an additive for almost 2 decades now, or forever how long he's been working at the WWE. No one has ever clamored for him. No one has ever chanted. This is not a CM Punk situation. Nobody has ever chanted his name over the years. In the times he'd come and go, and when he came back, I always thought of our truth, not Ron Killings, by the way. I always thought of our truth as a Santino Marella deluxe, because I always found Santino Marella funny, but he was there for comedy. And so's our truth. I just felt our truth was way better at it, and a hell of a lot more uh, durable to last as long as he has. As far as his wrestling skills, the guy's fantastic. We never got to see much of that over the course of his career, but he did what he did very well, and he was paid well for a very long time. And most importantly, no one ever clamored for him when he was gone. Okay. Then all of a sudden, they let him go. I'm not crying him a river. I agree with Mike in this, that we were not crying Ron Killings, the person, for being let go, a river. He was making very good money for a very long time. He's in his early 50s. So when he was let go, okay, he's been let go. Now, the internet wrestling community that you spoke of is exactly what's wrong with the world at this given point, because now you've got false imaginary muscular keyboard power. And all these people are just decide that this is their latest pilgrimage to righteousness, and we're going to sanctify the misjustice of the firing of Ron Killings. Oh, please. Now, I think that I personally feel that Triple H knew this all along. Come on, the guy was gone for a week. He's not caving into anything. What was the main event?
It
It was
was
some Vince
John
McMahon
Cena,
like
right?
no. At Money in the Bank just happened. What was the main event?
It was a
The
tag
main
team match, right?
right, and who was in that match, Mike?
It was
The
Logan
sexiest names,
Paul, right?
the biggest names in the company. Nothing's changed. And no, he's not giving in to the R-Truth thing. R-Truth has already come back and been defeated, correct?
Yes,
So,
you are correct.
so no. Did everybody get worked? Yeah. Isn't that the title of this show tonight, Mike? Did
It
you
is,
get
sir.
worked? Yeah, you
Yep.
did. You did get worked. And Triple H, I still believe, knows exactly what he's doing, and he's going to do what he's going to
Well,
do.
can I ask you a
You know?
question?
Yeah.
This is my question to you.
Go ahead.
Ron Killings, they didn't fire him, right? His contract was up. They decided not to re-sign him.
Uh-huh.
Do you okay? So in my
What a
mind, if
ploy.
Vince
Such a
McMahon was
ploy.
running the WWE,
Yeah.
he would never fold under that pressure. And I started blaming. Go ahead.
No, I don't think that it was folding at all.
Well, let me ask you this question: is there a possibility that Triple H was standing firm, but TKO is not a wrestling company?
Right.
Triple
Right.
H doesn't have the power that you would think he has. He's a very
Okay.
high manager, and that Nick Khan or whoever else overran him and said, "We got to bring this
Okay.
guy back. People are angry."
You know what's funny about this? Even if Triple H did not see this coming and this was a knee-jerk reaction thing, think about how he handled it. I think he handled it incredible. It's like say that you said that all of a sudden these guys above him, you got to bring him back. Blah, 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 blah. Look at how he handled it. Number one, did he give a fans a satisfactory return? Oh, he did. He absolutely did. Notice how quickly he's going to dispense of all of this, by the way. This was really smart, actually, if he didn't know and responded this way. Okay. Great return. He's already lost. Whatever happens next, as long as you see him around for the next, like here and there, it don't matter if they're satisfied. They're satisfied. Should it have ever happened at all? Yeah, why not? I feel like he probably didn't know in advance. What a wonderful way to work the audience. Get them all because you gotta see Vince knew his audience. No matter what the loud minority of the wrestling, can you argue with the numbers Vince has drawn over decades and
No, you
decades?
can't.
You cannot. You cannot. So what I'm hammering home here is that Triple H does know his audience and does know that they're going to go, oh, my God. Can you hear them in Queens, Mike? Oh, my God. You find our truth. It's such an injustice. You got to bring them back.
You can't. You know what? You can't imitate that any better. But that is a perfect example of that.
Right. And you got to know your audience. So what does he do? He feeds the frenzy, knowing all along. There's one of two ways. Either way, it's been addressed correctly. Do you understand what I'm saying?
You know what? Now that you say it, Jimmy, I'm thinking about what Triple H said, right? And he said, was it entertaining?
Right.
I feel like it's like maybe he was overrun, and he's just holding the flag or the banner, right? Not a hill to fight on, right? It's like you got it, whatever. It's disappointing to me because it's like, just like, Kofi Kingston or Daniel Bryan, the IWC somehow infiltrates and, or even The Rock, we'll never see The Rock Roman ever. It's never going to happen now.
Right.
And we lost that because we had to have Cody Rhodes win the title that time.
Right.
So my point is, the IWC wants something, and in the end, it's always wrong. Okay, you get Ron Killings back. Now he's angry Ron Killings. Okay, now what? He might win an IC title.
Right.
He ain't winning a heavyweight title, so it doesn't matter, right?
Right. No, none of it matters. Is it disappointing that are you more disappointed because of the level of he was in the WWE? He was never a main event guy. What the fuck's going on here?
You know what? He was always a guy in great shape, and they found a niche for him where he was a comedy guy,
He was
and
great
they
at
would
it.
fill him in on, with the little Jimmy bullshit. But it was never. I'm going to say it this way. At no point, okay, so the way the WWE works now is just like any TV program. They give you so much information, even movies. Like, I always believed if you were going to watch a movie, don't tell anybody anything about the movie, and it would be such a great surprise. But I guess it's proven out there, if you give everybody what's going to happen, that's how you draw an audience. So my whole point is, today's world, if they announce Ron Killings is going to be in the main event for the wrestling for the heavyweight title, it must watch TV for me.
Right.
I could care less.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's, you could perceive it as a mistake. To me, this is just an additive thing, and it's going to pass. And the most important thing are the main players. What I found very important was CM Punk coming out and telling John Cena what he told him this week. That's what I'm interested in. I'm not really interested in R-Truth. He created a nice little buzz for a couple of weeks. What is the long-term effect of all of this, Mike? Let's be honest. Nothing. Nothing is the long-term effect.
Now I got to ask you the question, dude. So CM Punk comes out, they have their dialogue, which was excellent.
Of course.
He challenges John Cena. Let's do it now. Cena feeds into the frenzy, like you said, and he puts up. He goes, "Let's do it!" in Saudi Arabia. And guess what? CM Punk. The Miz says something. This is years ago. This didn't hold over very well, Jimmy. Miz talks it, right? Because CM Punk has been very, very vocal about Saudi Arabia. And this is his response to the Miz about Saudi Arabia. Go suck a blood money covered dick in Saudi Arabia, you fucking dork. And now CM Punk.
Towards who?
So CM Punk has been very vocal about Saudi Arabia and its blood money, right? Now, again, the casual wrestling fan has no clue. They think John Cena's wrestling.
So this was years in the past when they were going to Saudi Arabia that Punk was doing stuff like this. Okay,
right? Exactly.
That's Phil Brooks. It's for you.
No, but my point is, CM Punk now is accepting Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Thoughts?
So what does that make CM Punk a hypocrite?
It doesn't make CM Punk anything. What it means is that everybody's got a price.
Phil's mad. Phil is mad. He's on the phone right now. He's like, Michael, that's not how it went down.
Anyway,
I don't know. I mean, I guess money talks, bullshit walks. Then, right?
Well, I think the point is everybody's got like these big standards and moral compasses,
right?
But when it comes to making money, again, look, Jimmy, let's be honest. Oh my God. It's like I'm on the air. I can't write it any more times than I did. And he just keeps writing and writing and writing, right?
Is that so? What does he want? Coupons for Burger King?
No, it's James Terry TV. Do you want to pick it up?
Oh, no, absolutely.
No. I got you.
Yeah.
So my point to you is this Jesus Christ. You're a staunch believer. It just keeps ringing.
Just hit mute. What's wrong with you?
I'm lowering the volume. I'm going to write again. Bro, I'm on the air. He's
an investigator. Doesn't he realize that? He's an investigator.
I don't know. Maybe he's listening. He wants to chime in. But anyway.
Okay.
My point to you, you're a staunch disagreeer in someone. Do you think you have a price?
I think that DiBiase's right. I think everybody's got a price. Look, everybody wants to be comfortable, so I would assume that there's a price. I mean, what am I doing for that though? Like, are you having me doing Sopranos work? What are you asking me?
Well, I think there is some levels.
I mean, if you're asking me
a price, but going to Saudi Arabia to wrestle somebody is
that's
not a price.
That's business. You're going to Saudi Arabia. It's a huge wrestling show, and it's a big dollar show, and you're gonna fight who in the main event? I mean, come on, how do you turn that down? You can't have it both ways. I mean, years ago, CM Punk wanted the big money match, and he was upset that he did not get it. Well, this is a huge money match. All right, it's not WrestleMania main event, whatever, but he got that done this past WrestleMania anyway. It's a huge money match. So, and they're counting on him, and he knows it, because if you take Punk off the roster right now and John, what are the ratings right now without those two? I mean, seriously, who's running to watch
I
Unless
don't
your
know,
name
man.
is, John Cena or CM Punk right now. I mean, who's going to draw like that?
No, I
It's
get it.
obviously not Jey Uso. Look what happened on Monday night. The proper champion is back. Is that
Oh,
catering to the fans,
so,
Mike? By the way, is that
uh,
catering to the? No, it's not. That is
I
not
think
catering.
I think it's a great business decision, Jimmy. To be honest
I
with you.
agree with that because they went for the wrestling machine that's going to give them the long-term, steady performance and profit. I agree. Gunther is the long-term. I'd much rather see the strap on Gunther. This is supposed to be a contact sport, despite the fact that it's entertainment, and nobody sells it better in today's current product than a Gunther. Right.
Right.
My God,
Right.
what is going on over there? You got like
It's
fairies
magic.
flying?
It's magic.
Yeah, Tinkerbell. Shut up.
That's scared. Oh my God, James, if you're watching, okay, I'm going to get you on at the end of the show. I've got a lot of stuff to go through.
Settle
Thank
down,
you.
Beavis. God
By
damn
the
it,
way,
Beavis. Settle
by
down.
the way, you know what? I cannot have my phone on. I wanted to ask you about this. So, in the dirt sheets on the interview last week, I know you were in New York, right? We spoke
Yeah.
about this with Val Venus on the Rachel Ellery thing. I'm turning my sound off now.
You threatened that 5 minutes ago.
I got it. I can't. So what the fuck? So anyway, we talked to Val about that. I don't know if you caught the interview. What are your thoughts on Rachel?
I don't. I have not seen the interview. As you know, New York was a emotional whirlwind and a
So
blur.
Rachel
I know what
basically
she said
said,
about Hogan and Vince.
right,
I know that
yep,
much.
right.
And look, I don't agree that Hogan and Vince should be erased. That's ridiculous. And that's how she feels. That's how she feels. How did you
I mean,
feel
she's
about the
cool as
interview?
shit. She was cool as shit, right?
Okay.
She was fine.
Yeah.
But, and you
It's
know
her
what?
opinion.
And honestly, I appreciated her opinion, right? It
It's her
was the
opinion.
one
Yeah.
thing that did bother me, though, I thought,
Okay.
was she had no comment on Tessa. And I felt like that's where someone who has a moral standard but has a price for their moral standard. Does that make sense? What I'm
What,
trying
like
to say?
because she might actually encounter Tessa somewhere down the road in the city for a match or something like that?
Or you know what? Maybe Tessa's going to end up because she's in AEW right now. Maybe she's maybe
Yeah.
maybe
That's
Tessa's
what I'm
on her way to
getting at.
AEW. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. But I'm not
Yeah.
talking an independent show. She may end up in AEW, may end up
Right.
in TNA, and
Right.
she gets the sound bite out. It's a problem,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, everybody's got a price. She didn't want to touch that one, but she's willing to slaughter old man Vince and old man Hogan, right?
That's the thing that bothered me, right? I was
Yeah,
like,
I get it.
wow. It's like, I appreciated her honesty. It was very cool, but I
Right.
thought it was a little bit of a cop out not
Right.
speaking about Tessa,
Well, I'll
right?
tell you
Because if
what,
you,
those who are confused at home, we let the guests speak. We're not there to give them our point of view. We will observe with each other after on a following show or whatever what we thought of it, but we're not there to cut them off. Let them say what they want to say. You know, outside of like Hitler's awesome, you're pretty much going to have a free platform to speak whatever you think. And I disagreed about Hogan and Vince, and yeah, she didn't seem to touch Tessa because she might cross paths with her. So that's how it seemed to me.
and I guess, what do you feel like? I get it, but it's like, does that piss you off in any way?
No, why is it going to piss me off? It's just one more person who just doesn't want Hogan or doesn't want Vince around. So what? I've grown indifferent to it. I mean, those who choose to remember are going to remember, and history is written, and you can't change it. What are they going to do? Try to change it? Drop them from the record books? This isn't Chris Benoit. What the hell's going on here?
Well, I will say,
You
though,
know?
I did enjoy kind of, so I want to do some show plugs real quick, Jimmy, if you don't mind.
All right.
Next Thursday, we have the Grappler will be on with
Wow.
us. All right.
Wow.
So be prepared for the Grappler.
That's crazy.
And then I also want to announce some good news for the channel. Monte and the Pharaoh will be hosting the new Eddie Mansfield show on the channel.
Here we go.
It'll be Eddie Mansfield. It's his show. He'll be personally announcing it in the next couple of weeks, where we'll be hosting, but it will not be Monte and the Pharaoh. It will be the Eddie Mansfield show.
Okay.
And we will just, ask a few questions, and he's off to the races. But it won't be a Monte and the Pharaoh interview. Thoughts on that, Jimmy? The Grappler and Eddie
Boy.
Mansfield.
I'll tell you what, I can't wait to read all the shit that gets said about you and me for associating with Eddie Mansfield.
Dude, what is that all about,
Oh,
dude?
come on. You know what it's all about. He had the nerve to tell the truth about what goes on behind the scenes. You can't do that, nanny poo-poo. Come on. What do you
Think
mean?
about it, dude. That happened in 1985, and it's like, what the?
Look what it did. What's wrong with you, Monte? Look what it did. All the respect was gone. Oh, you had Razor Ramon picking on a guy with a, what was it, the Mantar? What is this? There you go. There you go. Now, have you read some of the shit that's been said about us on the Eddie Mansfield clips? It's like, wow.
Jimmy, I've read it all. I've read it all.
We are scumbags, bro. What's going on?
We are scumbags. In fact, here, I'm going to play a video. I need you to weigh in on
And
this
proud.
one too. So
you forgot that part. And proud.
Listen. Again, I keep on hearing these ridiculous statements about like, Again, I want to reiterate to everybody: we are not a YouTube show. Okay, we're all over every platform on social media.
Yeah.
Okay, go to the Monte and the Pharaoh Facebook page, for example. Do you know every month? Thank you to all the wonderful fans out there. There's over 2 million views on our page. 2 million. 2 million. Okay.
Good luck with your ghost show, bro.
It's like, like Terry who's calling, right? And we're going to give him his piece at the end of the show, Jimmy.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
No, he's out.
Tired. I'm tired.
Right.
I gotta pick up another cat tomorrow. What?
All right, we won't then. But Terry's on the Angel Gotti show, right? I saw him on the Angel. I guess he's hosting the Angel Gotti show. Right?
Okay.
And they have a substantial amount of people in the room for like they got like 50 people watching or 100 people, whatever you want to call it, right?
Right.
And she ends up with 1,000 views. So she has a regular audience of 200 people.
Right.
We've got a regular of 1 million people, man.
Right.
Again, remember that guy? Didn't you see that guy yelled at me for all the posts? So I go to AI, and all I say to AI is this: compare Monte and the Pharaoh to whoever. That's it. And give me the reason why is who's the bigger show. Do you know who wins every time?
Oh, come on. What? I'm being set up here, Obviously, Spock hasn't beaten the computer at chess, so.
We have not lost to any show. It's in fact, a lot of it's like it's not even close. I mean, again, not talking about our friend Lee Cole, but it's like, I'm going to play a video. I just need you to weigh in. I'm sorry.
Well, Lee got it right. And that's why Lee's wrestling channel is successful. And that's why Monte and the Pharaoh eat tampons. They can interview whoever the fuck they want. But they can't come close to Lee. Lee found his niche. Lee found what works for him. And him and Renee are great. Fantastic together. They really are. I enjoy it. As people know, I listen to Jim Cornette. That's my wrestling go-to for everything. Him and Brian Last. But my second all-time favorite is Lee. He talks about different stuff. He has on great guests. And he's not afraid to talk about the real shit. And he's not afraid to expose the shit. And I think a lot of people from wrestling culture are afraid to do that. Because maybe they have an inside track to some WWE guys, and everybody's so afraid.
What do you think of that? Again, we're in everybody's mouths all the time, right?
Who? First of all, who the fuck was that anyway?
Some dude that runs some kind of mob channel, and again, remember something.
All right.
We're always in everybody's mouths. We're in all the dirt sheets, right? Again, I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back, but these are the facts. And it's like, if anyone's going to ever make me think that 100,000 people are subscribing to a Lee Cole page, it's just not happening. It's not good enough. And that's all I'm saying. So he could have all his friends out there that, Monte the Pharaoh could eat tampons. No, asshole, you listen to us all the time. Shut up. I'm on too much of a rant, Jimmy, or what?
No, I'm also kind of stuck on okay, let me get this straight. You're a pro wrestling fan, right? I'm assuming he's got to be been around for a little while. He doesn't.
Well, Jim
strike me as
Cornette, you heard what he said. Jim Cornette's his
How do you go? No,
go-to.
wait, well, no, wait. How do you go from now? I would understand why anybody would say Jim Cornette, whether would like him or hate him, irrelevant. Jim Cornette is Jim Cornette. Great listen. How do you go from, if you're a wrestling fan, Jim Cornette and then Lee Cole? Huh? What about all those other great shows that you watch all the time and that even I will look at? You mean to tell me that's your next go-to? I'm very confused by that, and I really, he's just shit in the bowl, man. Who cares? Flush it. Next.
Again, it's
I don't
like
care.
I don't
Don't matter
care
to me.
either. I don't care either. But it
Let him
makes
say
me.
whatever the
It
fuck
just.
he wants.
It just.
Don't-
But you know what? But speak about us. We're going to hear about it because our plethora of fans will inform us that this went on. We'll cut your tape and we'll let you shine. Talk shit. We love it. We love it. Keep talking shit. But the fact of the matter is, Monte and the Pharaoh are industry-changing television show, not a YouTube show. We
Right.
are the Howard Sterns of pro wrestling.
Right.
Understand, this is what we are. We love our people, our family that follow us and help us and make us strong. We give you the best wrestlers that ever come in. We don't ask silly questions, but I refuse to allow people to just talk nonsense. Okay, all right, like, okay, dude, and we'll get some more shit. What about this guy?
Oh,
What
that's
is it?
email.
Yeah, the
That's
Triple
email.
H wannabe. I
Yeah.
mean, what is the deal with this dude?
Yeah. I want to bite my weenie. He's like a really bad Dracula. I see him as that.
Or Triple H wannabe, right?
Oh my God! It's all about the lame and how you
But dude,
crawl it.
like, look at this. It's like, hey, I'm gonna do my podcast, and I'll make sure I wear a vest that I can show my shoulders because I'm want to be a wrestler, and I think I'm a bodybuilder, and I've got a ponytail.
You think he spreads his arms and spits Kool-Aid?
Dude,
What do you think? Because
if
he's
I knew
definitely
it-
drinking it. That's for
If
sure.
well, that, you know what? That's the answer. These
Right.
fucking guys are drinking their fucking own Kool-Aid. Now, you could have heard me talking what I was saying. I'm not drinking the Monte and Pharaoh Kool-Aid. But what I will tell you is I'm going to refuse to allow people to talk shit about us when in fact, you know that we are the fucking industry leaders.
Yeah.
And you know what? AI is a computer. I'm not making it say anything. It makes it on its own. You guys could try it. Just compare Monte and Pharaoh too. Again, I did it to Bust It Open Radio. We lost substantially. Okay. But you know what? I could lose to Busted Open Radio and be okay with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. I'm actually okay with it myself. And sleep tight knowing this to any of our haters. I don't think about you folks really at all week. The only time that I even have to address to you your opinions or whatever you don't like about us or whatever your issue is when Mike brings it to me. So Mike,
This is true. I always have to bring you the issues. I
give you credit for digesting the vomit that you have to digest to share with me at some point. It's almost like what's that weird bird that has to feed its young with the vomit? It's like Pharaoh. By the way, have you heard? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, not again. Who cares? Fuck them. I don't give a shit because the second this light goes off and this show goes off, I'm right back to being who I am in real life. This is a blast, but I don't let these people fucking. I'm in bewilderment that people sit at home and obsess with us. I've talked to you about that. I'm like, oh my God, that one guy we recently discussed. This guy's 76 times on 76 different videos. He's taken time out of his so-called day. I'm like, wow. I find that fascinating, but also repulsive at the same time. Like, where's your self-worth? Don't you have something better to do?
Again, you know what? Life? Again, I find value in everything that goes on. And to be fair to everybody listening, Jimmy doesn't even when when we hit the dirt sheets, which happens often, I always got to say, hey, Jimmy, we hit the dirt sheets. He has no clue. He's like, oh, really? You know what I mean? So, so it's not just the bad, but I do find value in people's bad comments. But I also want to say I have intelligence. And if you're going to try to make me think that you have 900 members and 90,000 subscribers, or last month you got 24,000 subscribers. Thank you
Whatever.
to all the fans. Bullshit. Okay, that's all I'm going to say to you. If you have, I will tell people out there, if you were lucky enough to have 900 members, okay, at $1.99 a piece, split that with YouTube. So you're just say you're making $1. That's $900 a month just in memberships. And then
Right.
if you had 900 members, that means with views, you're probably pulling in $3 grand, $4 grand. Well, if you had 3 or 4 grand, bro, you'd have teeth in your mouth. I got to be honest with you. Or, not to be really rough about it, you probably wouldn't have tried to commit suicide a year and a half ago. Okay? Because to me, life is golden. You're living life. Why would you want to kill yourself? It's great. So I just call bullshit on people, dude. That's all. And it really doesn't bother me. It doesn't engulf me. I just laugh about it. And then I use my data and my mind. Jimmy, I needed to know your thoughts on the passing of an incredible, and I'm going to give you the screen, Brian Wilson.
Brian Wilson. Huh? I thought you were going to throw up a slab. What a terrible way to say it, but of Sly Stone also.
Well, you will. That's the next
Yeah.
one. But if I could find a fucking picture, that would be great. But go ahead.
Well, Brian Wilson. I was a very late bloomer to the Beach Boys. I mean, of course, as a kid growing up in the '70s, you're aware of them. You know, damn well, Surfing USA, and the beach band that was so effing popular. But I was almost 40 when I don't know what made me do it, but I bought a Beach Boys Greatest Hits, and I think there was like 20 songs on it, and I realized, I'm like, holy shit, like 17 of them are fucking unbelievable. Pretty good ratio on any Greatest Hits, because there's always songs you're going to disagree with, but 17 out of 20, and I started to marvel at the complexity of their harmonies. I was like, wait a minute, I grew up a Beatles fan, so if you understand harmonies, you know what the Beatles were with harmony, and I started to pull these harmonies apart, and I'm like, wait a second. Sure, they got stereotyped as a beach band, and yes, they wrote songs about the beach, but this is a band that wrote God Only Knows. Oh my God. That is one of the most mature, and that is the right word for it. Compositions. It's not a song. It's a composition. It's what I prided myself when Bart and I managed to do this life. It's a deep end of the pool. I do believe it's Paul McCartney's favorite song ever. God Only Knows. Surfer Girl, the harmonies and the melody and the simplicity of everybody. I mean, Dennis Wilson is Ringo in that band. You know, he's Ringo in that band. He basically does what the drummer needs to do. He stays the fuck out of the way, but he holds the fort. Brian Wilson was a genius. He was the genius in the band. Mike Love, the lead singer, for a lot of the songs, was distinctively different than Brian. Brian was the one who sang Surfer Girl. You always knew when Brian opened his mouth because Brian had that surf sound. His voice was just absolutely incredible, undeniable, and you knew right away it was him. He was the brilliant one in the band. He was also a production pioneer. The year that the Sergeant Pepper's is being messed around with, Pet Sounds is being messed around with. So the more I got to realize who Brian Wilson was, past the stereotype that Jim Morrison hated so much when he dealt with it back in that time period, past that image of a surfer band was a genius. And the genius was Brian Wilson. And a great grade on the report card, Mike. I'm sorry. If you tell me tomorrow I'll make it to 82, I would be like, yeah, I did all right.
It's so funny, Jimmy, until I really start talking, because I was never a Beach Boy guy, but
Right.
you're right. They were super talented, and if you talk to any musician like yourself, it's like that's not lost on anybody. It's like
Yeah.
that, when I heard LaGreca comparing, saying he liked the Beach Boys better than the Beatles, and this is the reason why, and I guess there's that thing that they were more talented. I was like, how could anyone compare? But after speaking to you and other people, it's like, yeah, it's a close comparison. It's not like a blowout, right?
No, I still feel that it's a blowout. And the reason I do is that after Brian Wilson, in general, Brian Wilson was the guy. Okay, when it came to giving the sound and the songs. In general, he was the one that was most memorable. They had one guy in that band on that level, and it was Brian. The Beatles' third wheel is George Harrison. So you got to understand that basically
Right.
the deck is stacked. And oh, by the way, the drummer went on to have a number one hit, Ringo. You know, so it's just like they were just so loaded at every position, and the pressure is not comparable as far as having to deliver a main event product. The Beach Boys were superstars, but they weren't the Beatles. No way.
Mhm.
You know, there's no way. So, you know, Brian Wilson's in the conversation as far as the penthouse of big time composers and producers. You know, he's in the penthouse. He walks in. But as rough as it sounds, I don't think I let any of the other Beach Boys in that room to sit there with John Lennon, Paul McCartney,
Well,
Jimmy Page when he passes away.
I
Jimmy
think what's a
Page.
value point on that whole
Yeah.
thing is, Jimmy, like, Charles Manson's not finding his way into John Lennon's house and hanging out with John
Well,
Lennon.
that was
right?
Dennis. At the end of the day, that was Dennis. I told you the story. Like, Dennis had his own little thing, and he ran into Charlie, and Charlie had girls. So what was the basic thing of all rock stars in the day? They had groupies, and people gave them drugs. And
Yeah, but I
so,
think there's
you know,
also a certain level that you just don't let.
well,
I don't know.
well,
You just
you
don't
know
let
what?
them in your house, right?
Well, you know, right, and you know what happened was is that I think it was Mike who came to the house, and he tried to take a shower upstairs, and Charlie suddenly opened the shower curtain and said, "I didn't say you could leave the room." So
Well,
yeah.
I want to ask you about Sly Stone, but I want to ask you another
Yeah.
question too.
Uh-huh.
Back to just podcasting in general, because I was just thinking about this. If someone has 90,000 subscribers
Yeah.
on YouTube, but just throw that
Uh-huh.
out there, and they have a TikTok page, what would you think the ratio would be following that person on TikTok?
I can't say because I don't have much of a pulse on TikTok.
No, but I get it. But my point is just
Yeah.
common sense. You're a fucking, son of a major accountant.
Would you hope that 1 out of 2 would go there? I mean, what would it?
1 out of 2 might even be high, right? To be
Okay.
fair, maybe 1 out of
Yeah.
5.
1 out of 5. All right. So if it's 1 out of 5,
So say just for this conversation,
let's
you have
say it's
100,000
100,000.
subscribers.
You got
How many are you going to get
20,000
over at TikTok? You got 20,000 coming
You
over,
got 20,000 coming over.
and
Right, what do we got?
that is not out of the realm, right?
No, that would.
But
Okay.
but if you have 80,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I'm the person I'm talking to,
Yeah.
and he has 28 TikTok followers,
What?
does that make sense?
No.
Hmm.
No, that doesn't make sense. And we encountered some of that shit back in the early days. Remember that? And I
Well,
remember.
I mean, these are all key indicators,
Yeah.
dude. It's like
Yeah.
stop with your nonsense.
Right.
Listen, let me ask you something. A guy like Don Tony, who is an OG in podcasting, him and Kevin Castle, and on his YouTube channel, he's got 35,000 subscribers, right? Well deserved, very
Well,
entertaining.
Right.
And you're going to tell me a fucking guy like Lee Cole is going to get 90,000?
No. Is that what you're being told? Because I won't even go and lower my.
No, well, you could see the subscriber count. It's almost a joke. I mean, James Terry was trying to call. He's now hosting the Angel Gotti show, right?
Okay.
Who would listen to that mess? Not knocking on Terry, right? Terry's actually entertaining, but that whole Angel Gotti thing, it's fucking awful, dude. It's the worst shit I've ever heard. It's so bad. Who would listen to it? Just because she's a Gotti?
Is it mob talk? I mean, what is it?
They're not even talking about the mob. That's the joke about it. They're
These
talking
weird
about,
rules.
they bring on
Whatever.
these people like, I don't even know where they're coming from. I mean, this is, talk about Val Venus talking about the state of the country. I mean, these are the people that are out there. I'm like, who's watching this?
Well, apparently somebody who sees the last name Gotti, and I understand why if you see the last name Gotti.
But at some point, there's got to be some sort of entertainment. Like, for example, if you can't stand me and Jimmy, you're still going to watch us if we have Tony Atlas on, because you're a Tony Atlas fan if you're a wrestling fan, right? I mean, let's be realistic here. Just like that idiot said, he's like, I don't care who you interview, whatever, dude. The fact of the matter is that, you could say whatever you want. It's like Lee Cole, your go-to, couldn't interview a paper bag.
Well,
You know what
that's
I'm
why I
saying?
want. That's why I want him to keep thinking the way he's thinking, because that will keep him in a relevancy long term.
Mm.
Let's talk about content, okay? You, I'm glad you want us to just go and talk to anybody, because you see, that's what we've been doing for 8 years. And the best part is when a new person finds us, an interview from 8 years ago still holds historical relevancy. Your weekly dirt rag grab by your cult hero over there doesn't give you long term endurance, bitch. And that's what we have. And that's what we've been doing
And,
for
and,
a
and you're and
long
you're
time.
you're gonna tell
And we'll
me
keep on doing it.
that if you need to get your AEW news, you're going to go to Lee Cole
Oh,
instead
come
of
on.
Don Tony.
Oh,
It's not even
stop.
realistic. That's
It's
my
just,
point. It's like you're selling something that you can't even fake. And I know I'm picking on Lee. It's not just about Lee. There's a lot of
no,
other
there's
guys
plenty of
there,
others.
right?
There's
It's
plenty of
it's like
others.
no one is going to you for wrestling news. If they are, they're going to Jim Cornette, right?
Right.
They're going to Undertaker, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you
Well, that's
think
why
we
I
don't
laughed.
do wrestling news? It's not our thing. We talk about it, but we don't
Right.
do it. We don't
Right.
go, oh, we don't do Raw recaps. We just
No.
talk about it, but we talk about the other shit that's involved.
Right. 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 And we've been doing it for years, and we'll continue to do it. It's what's worked for us. And it's blue collar. Like when you said Don Tony, the thing I think right away is blue collar, man. The hard way, the right way. And these people that we point out, what's their point of origin as far as how are they centered? They don't have morals to begin with. Wow, what a surprise that they're trying to do the grand illusion. I don't give a fuck. I do what we do together. I love what we do together. The light goes. I live my life. Who gives a fuck? Fuck yous.
Exactly.
Fuck yous. Don't care.
All right, Sly Stone, bro. What's your thoughts there?
Sly Stone. Look, I was never like, oh, I got to go out and get Sly Stone records. What I will say is what a performance he obviously pulled off at Woodstock. He was paid well. That's something, Mike, you'd probably find interesting. When I look back at who got paid what at Woodstock, I was amazed that he got way more cash than other bands. You'd be surprised. I was like, whoa, this guy got paid. But you know what? He had some big hits back then, and lost another one. Now we got to start getting used to this at this point, bro, because they are dropping like flies. Listen, after Eddie Van Halen died, all bets are off. So anybody making it to 70, 80, whatever, it's like, wow, you made it that far. Congratulations. Very, very, very sad, obviously. The Beach Boys one hit heavier, but two major losses in the world of music this week.
Mm. No, I got you. I got you. And you're right. We're going to start losing them more and more and more. I don't know, man. I look at the news. I see younger and younger people passing away from odd things. Maybe I just never paid much attention to it. But you
Right.
got like fucking 30-year-olds dropping dead of heart attacks and
Yeah.
shit like that. It's a strange thing. Let's talk about before we go, let's talk about our boy Val Venus in today's interview. So Val covered a plethora. We started off the show about it. Val covered a plethora of things. He covered his thoughts on how the economy should be, how the government should be run, so many other things. Talked a little wrestling. We took the little Vince McMahon. He told the great John Laurinaitis story, and we also spoke about Missy Hyatt. But the one thing I wanted to hear your point of view, and again, the guest was on, so you got to let him talk. But thoughts on his approach about Jesus Christ.
Well, when he was talking about what the work that the preacher of Nazareth did, and why people, how could you turn it down and stuff like that, all I could think about was the actual crucifixion itself. And he was talking about the choice, right, Mike? He was saying that we all have a choice, right?
Right.
At the actual crucifixion, and I find the symmetry beautiful, because if you start to study the Old and the New Testament mathematically, numbers are given to us for a reason. And I always found 3 to be a very, very repetitive number, whether it was the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, whether it was even Judas and then Peter and Paul in the turn of events, leading to the resurrection and all of Paul's writings and everything that happened afterwards. It always seems to be three, and I found it interesting that as he's saying this stuff about choices, the crucifixion, there were three men there that day being crucified, correct? And he had one on each side of him, correct?
Yes,
And,
absolutely.
and, and they were all criminals, criminally charged with something, right? Because your question does God look at all crimes the same, right? So
Yes.
here are three criminals on the cross, and what was written? One criminal laughed at him and said, "Well, if you are who you say you are, take yourself off the cross now and show everybody that you are who you say you are." He's completely, obviously made a free will. Getting back to the point of origin of free will, a free will, moral choice to not recognize Jesus for the work he was trying to accomplish there. And what does the other criminal say? I've sinned. I deserve to be here. You don't. Please forgive me. What happened? What did he say to him? He said, today, with me, you enter into paradise.
Mm.
So you do have a choice. And that's what I was thinking, typical former elder goofball that I am. But that was the thing I was thinking, because there's always a spiritual illustration to hammer home what you're trying to say in plain words. And I found that to be really majestic when he was talking. But that's me, the three, and the free will and the choice. So I found that fascinating. I don't think his utopian world will ever come to fruition, but that's a whole nother story. People are going to be people. So I basically saw The Walking Dead policing their own towns without minus the zombies. You know.
By the way, Maria Davis says Happy Father's Day there, Jimmy Farrow.
Thank you. I'm still raising myself. Look at that. What a mess.
I will tell you that there's some talk in here. I want to be able to shout out to the team.
Yeah.
I don't see
What do you got?
James Terry's not in the chat.
Well,
Jason Morning, RJ Hudson, how are
what's
you?
up? Hey, fellas.
You know what? I'll put my glasses on for this, bro. All right, because I want to be able to read. So, no way, dude. I like shows like this. I like just shows where we just bullshit and
Well, we
and
used to
get
take breaks
class.
from all the guests. Remember, it was like, we got to get back to just.
Well, we're gonna go a little less within the next probably after Embry. I think we've pretty much brought in a lot of people, unless I
Oh
can get
yeah, no
trying to
doubt.
find Eric's daughter. RJ Hudson, Walt,
What up?
we see often. Walt, how are you?
What up, Walt? What's up,
Maria
RJ?
Davis, who just
Jay,
stole our
buddy,
quarterback.
what?
Congratulations. She stole our quarterback.
Is that how
Congratulations.
you're looking at that? Oh God,
Cool
can't do
Drummer
that.
says it's not a work, so he's believing that our killings was
Okay.
not a work, which is fine. I get
No,
that.
it's fine. Yeah, either way, I think it's being handled correctly. That's my hope.
I just listen again. I have a major issue when people start to fold under the internet wrestling community. It really shocks the
Well,
shit out of me.
I just don't like that it happens with wrestling. Listen, wrestling is scripted entertainment, okay? To me it should be no different than your favorite television program that's a regular scripted entertainment. What are you going to during the Sopranos original run? I don't like Feach. Get rid of Feach. What are we doing here? Why is wrestling the one form of scripted entertainment that's got to fucking deal with this? It's like Star Trek didn't have to deal with that, did they? Oh, you can't stand
Again, like in the beginning, my biggest problem was
What?
the whole thing is that fucking Ron Killings was making $500,000 a year and worked like 3 times in 7 months, and it's like people are upset for him. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Well, we've lost focus. To be nice,
Maria Davis, hello, Father's Day to the greatest fathers in our fantastic chat. Cool Drummer, that's what I said it's not a work. Joey77, welcome.
What's Maria's prediction for the Steelers this year with Aaron Rodgers? I gotta hear this.
Let's see what she says. I mentioned
I gotta hear this.
Let me
Should
see.
be good.
Jay Will, I haven't seen you in a while, bro. Again, I suck at
Will.
producing, so I never get to look at comments anymore. For AI, that is called prompt engineering. What does that mean?
AI.
No, well, I love AI, but what
Makes
is prompt
me look
engineering?
like Sergeant Slaughter.
Is Jay Will trying to say that since I plug in Monte and the Pharaoh, it makes it pro Monte and the Pharaoh? Is that what he's trying to say? Because it's not giving me results like that, because when I compare it to something else, it's not doing that. So Jay Will, if you're still here, I'd like to know. Phil DeCesare, got to tell you something about Phil there, Jimmy. Benny listens to his radio show, I guess he has in Boston on terrestrial radio, and Benny says it's fucking great.
Mr. President, what does he talk about?
Talks about fitness, man, from what I understand.
Oh, it's a fitness show.
He asked me to get Tony Atlas for him, and I reached out to Tony, and then Tony's like, "Yeah, I could do it." And then
what about Patera?
Tony being Tony.
What about Patera? Is he drinking another case of beer or something?
What do you mean?
Ken, he likes his beer. He was a former fitness guy. He can come on Phil's show. What's the problem?
Phil DeCesare also says, Monte and Pharaoh, Jimmy, the Beach Boys were one of Jim Morrison's favorites.
Interesting. That's interesting. I wonder why. I wonder what the reasoning was behind that, because Jim was very curiously selective as to what he liked and what he didn't.
Chris Lee is back in the house. I always like to see Chris
Lee. What's up, mate? How is Chris? How you doing, mate?
I guess last time he wrote, he was going up for that surgery for his you know.
Hey, Mike, can I throw this in? Because if Phil's in the room, I got to throw this in. I don't know if you've noticed this, Mike. What is the Boston Celtics fans' obsession with hating the Knicks? Like, what is going on there? Like, I know it's not Phil. I've talked to Phil about all sports, and Phil's not an obnoxious. Like, first they hated Tatum, who delivered a ring, and they hated him, and they were blaming him, and then they got eliminated, and then they were like, you're lucky this guy
you're going to multiple questions. So first I got to answer Maria's, and then Phil came in. I'll give you that answer.
All right.
Maria says, I hope that Aaron Rodgers will take us to the playoffs, and if he does, the Steelers will have a shot, I'm assuming, at the Super Bowl. Right. I got to tend to agree with Miss Davis because, it's fucked up. Phil says, thank you, guys. I talk about everything. Monte and Pharaoh, maybe you could get Gary McNeely back on with you guys. I would friggin' love that. So, Phil, I'm here, Jimmy. Okay, so now you're asking Phil. Yeah. Why does the Celtics hate the Knicks so much?
Why are the Celtics fans so obsessed with the Knicks? I don't understand it. Look, a Knicks fan is stupid. He might say something stupid, but my God, the Celtics have won so many titles, and they treated Tatum like crap. And then they lose to us, and they're just, if so-and-so was healthy and this, that, and the other thing, and you guys have 2 championships, and we've got, as a Yankee fan, maybe I'm in the minority, but I've never felt the need to sling mud. The Celtics are the Yankees, historically, of the NBA. Why would you even feel the need to? So what's going on out there? What's your Celtics fan?
Phil says I'm good with the Knicks. What I think, personally, Jimmy, I think Boston and New York, whether it be baseball, hockey,
is that what it is?
Basketball, it's just that feud. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's all stemmed from that the Red Sox traded the greatest, or at least at the time, the greatest baseball player of all time to somebody else.
Who still is the greatest baseball player of all time, but
that's up. Well, again, that's up for. That's up for.
Unless you can find me a cleanup hitter that can also throw you a shutout, I'm sorry.
Wow, look at you. Loving life.
Well, think about it. I mean,
all right, so we learned a lot. We learned a lot. By the way, if you get a chance, catch that Val Venus interview. And Jimmy's got a lot to do. I missed seeing him in New York, but I'm glad you got to pay respects to your friend. If you want to give him a shout out, I thought that was a wonderful thing that you flew up here to pay your respects.
George Von Ed from War Dance. Yep. Yeah, that was pretty wild seeing the guys from the band that I hadn't seen in a couple of decades. It was very sad, but I guess it's closure. After all, his widow came up to New York, and a lot of people came from different places to be there. So it was nice. The whole trip was a blur. We got some tracks done, Mike, on a positive note, so you can stay tuned for that.
I'm looking forward to No Mysterio. I will tell you, if the tracks are as good as I expect, I think we will be replacing the theme song, because I'm going to make a
you leave
video.
Riding High alone. Leave that alone.
Dude, we've been doing it for years now. I think we got to go with a new Wisteria Hall song.
Okay. All right.
Let's see what you come up with. I'm sure it's going to be magic. On another side, I don't know if you know this, but Gary Wolf and Chris Anino have agreed, at least I think so, that they will go one-on-one with James Terry, who we know has been pranking them. So that would be fun on the show. What do you think of that?
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're batten down the hatches.
That could be a show. That could be a show
Yeah.
to listen to, right?
I was watching you eating yodels, Gary, the other night, and I noticed that you finger lick the plastic. That's the kind of stuff James is going to have for him. What do you think? He's an
What do you think?
investigator.
Do you think that's what he's because he's a private investigator?
Yeah.
No, he's gonna have his quick-witted jokes about.
Oh, he's fast. He's fast.
You know that you wear a wig and whatever he comes. It's like, listen. The one thing I will say that I like about the guy is he's funny. He's very funny. If you take his shit personal, you're just being ridiculous.
That's highly inadvisable.
I mean, the shit I hear him say to people is utterly ridiculous. The guy. Talk about a guy with no morals. That's a guy with no morals, right?
Perhaps.
But he did call me last weekend to say that our last show with the great Eddie Mansfield was incredible. So you know what? It's Terry's an all right guy, dude. You know what I mean? I didn't think it was right that he pranked Gary, right? But Terry thinks I'm stupid though, right? Because we got with Lee Cole, and they're like, "Oh, I got a good idea. Let's get Gary Wolf's number and prank them and make them look like it's their fault."
Oh, look at
I'm
Lee
not
Cole
stupid, dude.
Look at Lee Cole playing Charles Manson. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
So then when Lee Cole gets with Terry, and then Terry does his dirty work for him, right? And then all of a sudden Lee Cole's son, who's been bothering me to come on the show, I say, okay, let's do it, which you were dead set against. So I always stand by my partner. So I wasn't going to do it anyway. But I made sure that James Terry knew about it, and James Terry ran off to tell Lee Cole on air, and Lee Cole had a meltdown. I can show you the emails. Meltdown.
I'm surprised you didn't. Hey,
because you know what? Check it out. Because number one, I'm not into using someone's family as pawn, right? Then we're going into the Marathi era where he brings on a fucking stepdaughter, right? I would never do that, dude. But the one thing I did know is that Terry would run off to Lee. That I knew. That was easy to figure out. These guys are easy, dude. You know what I mean? Like they're easy. Like out of nowhere, you call James Terry, like you call Gary Wolf. Like I listen, I didn't feel bad for Gary, right? I was like, Gary, you got to know better when someone say, just hang up the phone. Like, it's not like, I think he said he called from the WWE and whatever else, Then he calls a Nino, right? And then, that's the thing too.
But what the fuck are you? This is what you do with your free time? I'm very confused.
Well, you know what? He does prank phone calls, but there's a problem. When you prank phone calls, you really can't put them on there. It's illegal. It is illegal.
So
I heard it's illegal in certain states. Let me put it that way. I don't want to be an expert there, okay? But you can't sit there and record someone and throw it on air and generate money for it, right? Right? So, he called the Nino, and Nino's a nice guy, and Nino was entertaining. He didn't know any better, and then he went into that whole spiel. But the funny thing is, Nino got pissed.
Yeah.
And he called the cops.
Oh, well.
And then the cops, supposedly, from what I understand, there's some shit going on with Terry. Like, this is what I heard. Again, just speculation. Terry is wanted for some shit. And Terry, when he called me about it, I didn't know at the time that Nino called the cops. And then when I said, well, you did prank him, because he must have been recording me, right? And he goes, you did. I go, you did prank him. And he's like, no, I didn't. So he must have been on air recording me. So plausible deniability, right? So he would not say that he pranked him on that phone call. It's Jimmy, the shit I got to go through sometimes.
Why are you even going through it? Don't pick up the
because
phone.
You know what? I do like Terry. I think the guy's really a talent. Okay. I used to like Lee Cole, but Lee Cole just turned out to be a dirtbag, dude. He's just a dirtbag. That's all.
Pick a dirtbag, any dirtbag.
But you know what? Guess what? We met Gary Wolf, who, thank God, you got that interview. 18,000 views, right?
Yeah.
Chris Anino, nice guy. Like him a lot, right? Good guy. You know what I mean? So you meet really good guys here. You know,
Yeah, you
that's
do.
all.
Well,
That's
the
all.
the waters are murky, but yeah, you do.
You meet some shit. You meet some good people. It is what it is, dude. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
So,
Agreed.
all right, back to the grappler, and then I'll get you out of here, dude, because you're gonna have a busy night. So, what are your thoughts of Denton, the grappler?
Well, the grappler goes back to the magazine days. That's what I think of the grappler. I mean, I was like, really? Wow. Look at that. How classic is that?
Dude,
How
by the way,
classic is
that
that?
mask is a bit scary.
That dude. It's looking at wrestlers like that, not really getting to see them on television in those early mag days, the magazine days. I was like, wow, I wouldn't want to get in the ring with that. That's
Is the
when men were
grappler in the
men.
top 10 greatest masked wrestlers ever?
I would have to think about it. Haven't we done something like that? You got
I
to
think we
refresh.
did. I don't think the grappler was in there.
Was the spoiler?
Spoiler was, I think it was in there with me. I don't know if you had him.
Right.
But that's like just because I like the spoiler.
I'd have to think about it. I really would. I'd have to think about it. He's definitely one of the all-time names, though. Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's many moons ago, my friend, the magazine days.
I know,
man. The after mags. Wow, when wrestling was wrestling.
I miss Apter, man. I want to have Apter back on.
I love Bill.
So how about this one, man, before you go?
Yeah.
WWE legend Undertaker forced to have emergency surgery as wife Michelle McCool reveals terrifying ordeal. WWE legend Undertaker was forced to undergo heart surgery just days after WrestleMania earlier this year. Undertaker's real name, Mark Calloway, retired back in 2020 after one of the most legendary careers. He has been a staple piece of WWE. Come on, get to it in this fucking article already. Speaking on the podcast with his wife, Michelle McCool admitted that he had been emotional during her own Hall of Fame in April. Undertaker was inducted, but okay. What the fuck? Hold on.
All right, so he had a emergency.
But I want to know what happened, dude. Like, what was the heart surgery?
What do you mean?
Like, what did they do?
Like, what did they do to him?
Yeah, like, okay, you had a heart surgery. What was it? Was it stents? Was it fucking valve replacement? Was it bypass?
More importantly, does this mean that we're never going to see Undertaker sting? I guess not.
Okay. I felt there were people that come up to congratulate me. It ended up being terrifying the day we got home from WrestleMania. The next morning, 6 a.m., we were in a hospital for heart surgery. Undertaker admitted I was supposed to go to Vegas. You weren't supposed to go anywhere, McCool responded. You were in a hospital for 4 nights and 2 weeks before WrestleMania. Yeah, you weren't supposed to go. I got met. Okay, what did he have to do? Someone help me. McCool explained routine tests in March had flagged problems with his heart, and a follow-up checks revealed that he likely had chronic arterial fibrillation. Fucking guy had a heart rhythm, man. Okay, enough with this shit. Big deal. What the fuck?
All of that for that?
All that for that, dude. He had AFib.
We're not getting Taker versus Sting.
Dude, yeah, I don't think.
What is wrong with you? You missed the punchline 2 minutes ago. You come to the same fucking conclusion. It's just like, who gives a fuck? Okay, Undertaker has a irregular heartbeat. Is that what you're telling me? I mean,
yeah, AFib. Like 90% of the people have AFib nowadays. I mean,
that's great. I fib all the time. What?
All right, dude. You gotta get us out of here.
Besides, he's the Undertaker. Doesn't he have insight to the other side anyway? I mean, I figured he's got a head start when he goes.
Hey, what was your take on Val Venus's comments on transgenders? Like, let me ask you this, Jimmy. Do you believe that people are born feeling like they're in the wrong body?
No.
Not at all, huh?
No. So you're asking me whether in 1975, listening to my Kiss record, my father, the accountant, coming and going to work and me going to school, if I ever thought to myself, gee, perhaps my name should be Sharon? I mean, what do you...
Well, no. Again, not you, not me, but do you think that people are born...
I don't remember coming across anybody who thought that way. No. There was no kid in my school. All right, can I hammer it home? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was my area. Let's study the analytics of it all, you know? But no, there was nobody like,
There was no one gay in our school.
maybe, you know what, to be honest, perhaps
I think there was, dude, if I
perhaps in
remember
junior
right.
high school, but I'm talking about what they're teaching kids now. I'm talking about grade school.
No, but what I'm trying to say to you,
You
dude,
know,
like,
no,
do you think so you don't think the people just feel like they're born in the wrong body and they should have been a woman or they should have been a man?
No, you know what I think? Adolescence, when it kicks in, does fucked up things to people. And most of the time, it doesn't turn out to us going into this direction of questioning. Most of the time it's like, yeah, boy is a boy, girl is a girl, and you're born one way or the other. Nobody's coming out like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Surprise! I mean, what are we talking about here?
Mm.
Sorry if it seems harsh, but no, there's not a third gender being born. I think it's a choice. I don't feel like it's genetic. That's why I asked Val, do you think it's genetic? But obviously Val doesn't either. He thinks it's some sort of mental disorder. Do I know what it is? No. Do I overly think about what it is? No.
Well, so let me ask you this:
Be whatever you want to be.
depression,
Just don't run me over with it. Do
depression.
whatever you want to do.
That's probably the best comment, right? Be what you want to be.
Be what you-
Just don't
yeah.
run. But Val doesn't agree with that. Val feels like that's the dumbing down of society, right?
You know what? What's dumbing down the society is the loud minority screaming about it on the internet and making the majority feel like
That's
this
what I
is
mean. It's like
an
why?
overall truth. It is not. It is a loud minority. Look, the country and the vote just spoke about this, Mike, whether the other side agrees or not. You should not be teaching transgender shit to grade schoolers. They haven't even figured out what a boner is yet. What the fuck are you doing?
Mm.
And don't tell me it's natural. It's not natural. You are forcing the unnatural into the psyche of innocent, harmless kids. What the fuck is wrong with you? We don't teach you about that. We teach you about the alphabet and how to respect each other and play games together. And no, not everybody gets a freaking competition trophy. The winner wins. The loser goes home and tries to make themselves better. That was what we were faced with, and that's what we still apply in our everyday daily life. And no, you and me didn't agree with the Obama administration, but you and me never wanted to see him hurt
Right.
or shot at. What the fuck kind of generation? What is going on here? Because what we stand for is way more moral than you think, folks. But that's okay, because today, Jesus of Nazareth wouldn't be able to get a job at Walmart because of the way he looks and dresses. So how far have we come?
Very good, Jimmy. Very good. I want to remind everybody again, we've got the Grappler next Thursday, and then the following Thursday, Eric Embry. He also got Monte the Pharaoh on the second show, talking wrestling.
Eric Embry, very excited.
And then I think in 3 weeks, I just got to get it booked, is you will have the final showdown between Private Eye, James Terry, co-host of the Angel Gotti show. Probably the worst shit I ever heard. Again, not James Terry's fault. And we got a lot of stuff coming up, guys. A lot of stuff. So
when I'm not listening to Jim Cornette, I hunker for some Lee Cole.
Oh, can I play it one more time?
No, please don't. I need Tums.
All right. I just thought it'd be funny. Come on, just let me play it, and then once I get out, just send us out. All right.
Oh, just humor me, Pharaoh. Humor.
Well, Lee got it right. And that's why Lee's wrestling channel is successful. And that's why Monte and the Pharaoh eat tampons.
Did you ever eat a tampon?
With mozzarella or plain?
Tampon.
Salted.
Like, who comes up with that line? They eat tampons.
Eat a bag of dicks. Put it on a mug. Millionaire.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Bag of dicks is good.
Oh, it's great.
Eat tampons?
Yeah. No, it's not. Yeah.
I mean, look at this. Do I have a picture of this guy? This guy looks like, we keep on trying to get off air, and then
it's also the blood connection. That's our truth. That's not the blood. It's also the blood connection. Perhaps the tampon reference. He also looks like a sickly vampire. Perhaps that's how he gets his blood supply.
Oh, there he is.
Sucking on tampons.
Look at this loser.
There he is.
You know something,
Mike? You know something, Mike? Lee took the right course. That's what he did.
Look at this.
He went down the right path. Lee Cole did.
I took my welfare money and I bought the most expensive microphone I could use.
And I slicked back my hair.
And I talk mob talk because I know about the mob.
I
Whatever,
wonder what
dude.
Michael Frances thinks about him.
I doubt he even knows who he is.
I'm sure he's
This guy.
Yeah, well,
What is that? Like slick back hair? As you have long hair? What does that look like to you, dude?
it's another. Wait a minute. Is he the Shawn Michaels to the other guy's Triple H email? What do you think?
He might be.
I think we got something there. Yeah.
What
The heartbreak spud. There
what
he
a
is, right
jerk
there,
off.
folks.
What a jerk off. Who's this jerk off?
Who knows?
Dom Cacali.
I've already forgotten him.
Is that his name? I don't even know if that's the guy's name. But again, we eat tampons. What do we know?
Yummy. Mozzarella.
I don't care how many wrestlers you interview. You suck.
Yeah. Yeah. Our
Anyway.
library has staying power.
Which is frantic. All right, Jimmy, send us out. Are you doing the baseball bums this weekend? What are you doing?
Yeah. We're going to shoot the baseball bums, and I'm assuming it'll air Sunday like it usually does.
Reminder, we're back next Thursday with the Grappler and a regular Monte and the Pharaoh show. We're on our regular time, guys. So thank you so much, Jimmy. Great second show, great first show, and it was good to have you back. Thanks, brother.
You got it, bro. Oh, man. You've been watching Monte and the Pharaoh. And until next week, later.
All right.
Val Venus.